that'll be good. Yeah, no problem. Yeah, just make sure you don't save your 800 numbers until the end, because we just want to make sure, because they'll be timestamped so we can see that you guys were here for the majority of the time. Otherwise, people could just come in and out and we wouldn't know. Alrighty, so I will hand this over to Sydney, and she will get us started with this virtual culture hour. Thank you, everybody, for coming, and we'll talk to you in a little bit. By the way, if you guys have any questions while we're going through this, feel free to put your comments and your questions in the chat, and then we'll be happy to answer them. We have a couple people in here who are going to be answering your questions in the chat as we go. If it's something specific to France, then we will, Sydney will probably answer it, but if it's just about study abroad in general, feel free throughout the entire presentation to send your questions in the chat and we'll answer them to the best of our ability.
Okay, can you guys hear me? Everything good?
Yep.
Perfect.
Sydney, before you get started, we just want to make sure that everyone understands that this session is being recorded. So by your presence staying here in the event today gives us permission to record this session. We do post it on our YouTube channel when we are done for others to view if they're interested. But keeping in mind that your names are usually kept hidden, but just as an FYI that by being here and staying in the room that you are in fact agreeing to be recorded today. Sydney, it's all you.
Cool. Thank you, Wendy, and thank you, Morgan. So welcome, everyone. Bonjour. Welcome to the Virtual Culture Hour on, you guessed it, Saudi Arabia. I mean, just kidding, France. So obviously here you got a picture of the Eiffel Tower in Paris, the most obvious French cultural symbol. Everyone knows the Eiffel Tower. So go ahead and go on to the next slide here. So here we got just a map of France. You got all of these different sections here. They kind of work like states in the US. There's a big federal government that's centered in Paris, and then you got all these different provinces around the country. So it helps with governance. And I've listed on the left of the slide a bunch of the largest cities in France. So you got Paris in Ile-de-France. Everyone knows Paris. You got Marseille in the south, Lyon, Toulouse, Lille, Roubaix, Bordeaux. Everyone knows Bordeaux. That's where they make wine. So if you ever had wine, it's probably from Bordeaux. And then Nice, which looks like nice. And most Americans pronounce it nice, but due to how strange the French language is, it's Nice. Are you guys familiar with these cities, or are all of these just like complete nonsense and you've never heard of them before? Because I would understand that too. Some of them, yeah. A lot of people know Paris. Some people know Marseille. Anybody know any other cities maybe in France? I can think of a few that maybe you guys would know. Strasbourg, yeah, that's right next to Germany. Versailles, yep, where pretty much every treaty ever has been written. Provence, yeah, Aix-en-Provence is where the study abroad opportunity is if you're interested in doing that, but we'll get to Aix-en-Provence later. Another one maybe you guys might know, Dijon, where they make mustard. Montpellier, yeah. all of those. Yep. All right. So you guys know a little bit about what France is like and some of the cities. That's good. Go on to the next slide here. Okay, so some American versus French culture. First off, at cafes and restaurants, and people are always very happy about this, tipping not obligatory. You know, in the US, even if you have like a bad food experience and it's not the greatest server or something, the food's not great, you still tip just because that's how it is in America. If you go to France, you don't, tipping's not expected, it's nice. And if you had a really good service, then yeah, definitely tip, but otherwise not an obligatory thing. In fact, there's a service charge that's automatically added on to your bill at the end. So that's more of an automatic thing. So it makes it easier. You don't really have to think about it all the time. You also should expect for it to take a very long time. You can go and you can sit down at a restaurant and then the server won't show up for another probably like 30, 40 minutes sometimes. That can happen, especially if it's busy. And a lot of French people expect when you go to a cafe, you sit down for 2 hours, like at least for one meal. And there's usually a first course, an appetizer, a main meal, a dessert, coffee at the end, maybe an aperitif at the beginning. Food is a very big deal in France. And then for shopping and food, this sort of happens some. Yeah, the no tipping policy, yeah, would make it better for sure. Um, yeah, so the shopping and food, when you enter a shop, if it's a small boutique, you want to greet them always. That's not really a thing in America. When you enter a shop, usually you don't necessarily have to greet the workers. You can just go in, get your stuff, and then leave. But in France, especially in southern France, when you enter a shop, you want to be like, oh, hey, bonjour, how's it going? Just to, be nice. And then usually the food is very fresh in France. I know when I was there was a daily market where I could go in and get fresh fruit and fresh vegetables every day, which was really nice. Have any of you guys ever been to like a farmer's market here in America? Then it's sort of a similar situation. Yeah, yeah. Any questions on American versus French culture, at least in cafe restaurant situations? And I know, Angie, where when I was studying abroad, at least because I'm in a small town, so there were definitely a lot of times where I would sit down and it would take a bit, but obviously in bigger cities, that's not necessarily a thing. And like when you go to Paris, um, it's very fast paced, but in the smaller towns, it's much more relaxed. Yeah. We can go on to the next slide then. Great.
I had class in 15, FYI.
Oh yeah, don't worry about it. That's really cool. Estimated wait time. It really just depends on where you're going. There were a few like cafes during lunch. I would be there during the lunch rush and it would take a bit. But then during dinner, maybe go to a smaller restaurant, sit down, get served pretty quickly. So it depends upon the restaurant, the time of day, how many people are there, but food is something to be enjoyed. You don't necessarily get ushered out quickly, or it's not something a fast paced meal. you're meant to sit down and enjoy everything. So it can take a while, but it's fun. It's good. So working, everyone loves the work hour in France. It's a lot different from here in America. Yeah, you usually do have to ask for the check too. Yeah, that's true. So for working, the average work day in France starts around 8, 9 a.m. and goes until about noon. Then you get 2-ish hours for lunch, and then you come back, and then you have the rest of work to about 5 or 6. The average work week is 35 hours a week. And overtime isn't really a thing, so do any of you work like part-time jobs anywhere? Yeah. So, mhm. So a part-time job generally in America tends to be about 20 hours a week. So you're almost there to a full-time job in France. And the laws of labor in France are really extensive. They want to make sure that the working to life ratio is well balanced. So that's why you get that 35-hour work week, and overtime super isn't a thing. 20 hours, 27 hours might be part-time. I don't know. I work 20 hours part-time in my job, so that's what I was basing it on, but it was 27. I don't know. Anyways, working on national holidays also not a thing in France. You know how in America you can have like a national holiday such as President's Day, for instance, which was this last Monday, and we were all in class and everyone pretty much was still working. So national holidays in France, nobody is working, and that's I think a really nice cultural sort of emphasis on the fact that nobody, you shouldn't be working on those days that are meant to be holidays. And down here at the bottom, this is a bit that I took from an article, a New York Times article that was published like last week or so, in that France's latest COVID measure, letting workers eat at their desks. So before COVID happened, it was actually illegal to eat lunch in your office. You had to leave the office to get food outside the office. So that was a mandatory thing, which is sort of crazy to think about. Yeah. So the labor ministry says it will allow French employees to eat lunch at their desks in order to contain the spread of the coronavirus, a practice previously forbidden under French labor code. So that's kind of really emphasizing the difference here between the work life in America versus the work life in France. Now, again, obviously the work life sort of changes depending if you're in a big city like Paris. Paris is a lot more similar to the pace of America, just because it's a big international city. But when you get into smaller villages and stuff, it definitely slows down the pace, at least. Yeah, the productivity rate in France, John, it's actually, they're just as productive as Americans, and they actually get, vacation time. So if you're interested in working in France, go for it. Maybe not now because everything is still shut down, but in a few years, definitely go for it. Yeah, that's fair. Go on to the next slide, I guess. Food, everyone's favorite thing. When you guys think about French food, what comes to mind? Crepes, yeah. Baguettes, escargot, disgusting. Breakfast, yeah. hmm Meats and cheeses, macaroons, yeah, delicious. I can't believe I forgot to put crepes onto here, but yeah, crepes are, you can go up to any street vendor and they can just make a crepe on the spot. They're so delicious. Yeah. So French food, see, I was assuming you guys would say something like, you know, escargot and different like fish foods, but yeah, pastries definitely big in France. So here we have first you have the Les Pâtisseries, or which are just bakeries for pastries. That upper right corner is a picture of macaroons, a classically French dessert, and they are delicious. Do you guys like macaroons? I feel like that some people don't like them. You either hate them or you love them. Yes, yeah. Some of the flavors can be really, really good, and then some of them are like, why would you make that into a dessert? I don't get it, but you should definitely check out macaroons if you've never had them before. Super good. The Yeah, just super good. Other examples of pastries, calissons were created in southern France. They're a very good they're kind of, I don't know how to describe them. Definitely look them up. If you can get your hands on some calisson, go for it. They're delicious. Madeleine or Madeleines, also southern French pastry, which in the next slide we'll figure out how to, there's a link to a video showing how to make your own Madeleines if you really want to, and I highly recommend because they're this. And then obviously macaroons. There are a bunch of other pastries and stuff that you can pick up in France too. Just go to any local patisserie and there's just rows and rows and rows of delicious desserts. Next you have boulangeries. Yeah, eclairs, so good. So the boulangerie is a bakery for bread, where you can buy baguettes, croissants, and like any sort of bread you can think of. Have you guys had croissants? Obviously, like croissants have definitely made their way over to America for sure. If you want to know, yeah, I'm hungry too. Croissants is how you obviously say it in English. If you want to be French about it, it's a croissant. You gotta get that weird R sound in the back, the croissant, but they're so delicious. And then for some boisson or the drinks and stuff you can pick up in France. First you got, I wanted to highlight pastis, which is a southern French drink. It's an alcoholic beverage, so if you're younger than 21, don't listen. You're not supposed to know about alcohol, but pastis is an alcoholic beverage. It's made from the same like flavor of licorice. So if you like licorice, you would like pastis, and if you don't like licorice, then I wouldn't recommend trying this drink. But they're surprisingly good, and basically you get a little like shot of pastis, and then you add water to it. So on the bottom picture is a glass of pastis, and there are a bunch of different flavors of pastis. I think you could probably pick some up in America. So if you want to try it, definitely go for it. But again, if you don't like licorice, you would probably hate this drink. Obviously, other very French drinks, wine and espresso. And it's an interesting thing about espresso and coffee in general in France. How many of you guys like go to Starbucks, and what's your favorite drink to pick up at Starbucks? You know, like a double latte, mocha something, some with like a bunch of different flavors, decaf caramel frap. Yeah. So you can't really, unless you happen to be in a big city like Paris or Marseille, you're probably not going to find a Starbucks or any other big yeah, Americanos, kind of classic, but yeah, c'est la vie. Um, when you're in smaller towns, you're not really going to find chains for coffee shops. Instead, what you're going to find is you're going to go to a bunch of individual little cafes. And when you go into a cafe and you order a coffee, what they're going to give you is a shot of espresso, like a little cup, and it's just espresso, and like that's it. Unless you specifically say like I want this, and even then the options tend to be limited unless you're in a bigger chain that would have all the different flavorings like caramel and like white mocha and all of those pumpkin spice during the holidays. You're going to get espresso, and which is just just something to get used to, but it's good for sure. Petition to bring Dunkin' to France. I feel like I don't know if the French would necessarily take to a donut place, but we definitely try it. I'm sure it's in Paris. I'm sure there are Dunkins in Paris. Yeah. Anybody have any questions about food in France? Or the first Starbucks was opened in Italy a couple years ago, and people were mad. Yeah, the Europeans take their coffee seriously. It's Americans do weird things to coffee. We're strange, and it's definitely gross. In Europe, yeah. Oh man. All right, we can go on to the next slide here. Tea is also a big thing, obviously. So if you don't like coffee, then go for tea. But when you're at a restaurant, usually the last thing they ask is for, oh, would you like a coffee at the end? You're done with your meal. You've had cheese platters, and you've had a huge meal, and you've had a dessert, and then the last thing they do is, oh, do you want some coffee? And they'll bring you an espresso. But yeah, coffee's a big thing in France, especially. So here is a video on how to make those madeleines. And that's a picture of a madeleine there. They're very soft and very delicious. And so here's a video on how to make those desserts. I don't think we can, I mean, at least I can't hear it.
I fixed it.
Hey friends, thank you guys so much for tuning in to Cook with April on Tasty Tuesday with our taste tester, Justin. So today we're going to make one of Liam's favorite cookies. They're called Madeleines or Madeleines, potato, so it's okay however you say it. So let's go ahead and get started. With the Madeleine ingredients. They're also known as French butter cakes. So you'll need a Madeleine pan. I found mine on Amazon because I couldn't find it anywhere else. 1 lemon to zest, flour, eggs, vanilla extract and salt, sugar, and melted butter. So let's begin by cracking our 4 eggs and placing it into a medium to large bowl and mix with a hand mixer or a stand mixer. Add your vanilla extract. Add the salt and sugar. And let's go ahead and zest the lemon. You're going to need about 1 tablespoon or less if you don't like that lemon flavor. Then you're ready to sift the flour and mix with your hand mixer or stand mixer. Then you're ready to add that yummy lemon zest. It's going to add a little bit of that lemon flavor, kind of like a lemon cake. And then add the melted butter and fold that in. It was very, very simple to make. And I went ahead and I greased the Madeleine pan and I spooned it in. And then you are ready to bake at 350 degrees for about 14 minutes. And this is how it turned out. The first batch I made was really brown. I kind of burnt it. So I just gave you the measure, the time that worked for me, which is 350 degrees. And so that is how it looks like. Enjoy. We got our taste tester here, and tell me why I only had him have 1. Just kidding, just kidding.
I was like, shouldn't we put a couple more on the plate for
No,
presentation
we
purposes?
actually had some dipped chocolate ones for Liam's teachers, and then regular ones like this for Liam and Justin, and also for myself. So what do you think? I think they taste just like it. Like, you know, the ones that you can get like at Costco by that Don Sum, I don't know how to say it.
You know, I think that really good, really delicious. Have Madeleines become like more of like a trendy thing in the last couple of years?
I
feel
don't
like.
think so.
I don't know. I feel like I've been seeing them more often, like in coffee shops and stuff.
No, we just go to more
Interestingly,
more bakeries.
But interestingly, I feel like the lemon flavor is a little more prominent in these than the ones you get at the store.
Yeah,
and I really
sure.
like that. Maybe you put a little more rind in it or something.
Okay.
Delicious, right? Yeah, definitely recommend finding that video, trying to make some on your own. The reason that you don't necessarily have to have them shaped that way, but that's like the traditional shape of the Madeleine. And how the shape kind of lets it get fluffy in the middle. So when you bite into it, God, my mouth is watering right now. Oh, it looks so good. But the middle is very fluffy, and it's got a nice sort of cakey consistency, and it's one of the most delicious things in the world. So definitely, yeah, if you can get those ingredients, you can make it yourself, and I recommend doing it for sure. Delicious. Yeah, so a quick language lesson now. Definitely try this out. So first you got English on the left, French on the right, some basic words. Hello, good day, everyone knows bonjour. Bonjour for good evening, bonsoir. For good night, bonne nuit. Good morning, bon matin. Does anybody want to unmute and try to say these French words? Anybody brave enough to do that? It's okay if you don't want to, but
what the merci beaucoup.
Merci.
Beaucoup,
Yeah.
and je m'appelle John.
Perfect. Yeah. And how about what? Good night. Bonne nuit.
Bonne nuit.
Yeah.
Bonsoir. Bonjour. This reminds me of the movie by Disney. What is it? The Beauty and the Beast.
Yeah. Great movie. Some good music, good French in it too. But yeah, that was correct. Merci beaucoup. Je m'appelle Sydney. Oh, what was yeah, Lumiere. That's his name. The candle guy. Yeah. Which Lumiere is the French word for light, kind of, to light something. Lumiere. So that's his name. Because he's a candlestick. Very on the nose. Huh. Yeah. So for pronunciation tips, because I feel like French is you watch Beauty and the Beast, you can get some basic words, merci, bonjour and stuff. But pronunciation tips, people are always curious about how French is pronounced because it's weird. A lot of people make jokes about it being just cursive Spanish. Is a joke that I hear a lot. Because there are a lot of words in French are always have so many vowels and consonants, and you never say any of them. For so, like, you say half maybe of the half of the letters. Yeah. So here are some pronunciation tips at the bottom here. In general, when a word ends with a consonant, don't pronounce it. Do not pronounce it. So soir, nuit, matin, nuit ends with a T, you're not going to say it. Soir ends with an R, you're not going to say it. And then you have nu, vous, elle. So it's, yeah, a lot of French is pronounced either at the very front of the mouth and then like up into the nose, so it is kind of nasal. Sounding like matin, you say it with the in sort of going up into the nasal. Or French is pronounced a lot at the end of the throat. So the R sound in French, in Spanish, it's you roll your R. Bonsoir. Yeah. Yeah. Soir is it's evening. The time between, like, 4ish, before the sun goes down, but it's not quite afternoon, so the evening time, bonsoir. Yeah, early night. Yeah. The R sound is at the very back of the throat. Anybody want to try to pronounce R? It's not r like in Spanish, but it's er. Er. Er, yeah. It's weird. It takes a while to get used to making the R sound, but it's worth it. 'Cause it's like the one hard thing that American, because that sound doesn't happen in English ever. We never make that sound, so it just takes a while to get used to. Yeah. For some reason, nobody can agree on what R is supposed to sound like. But if you're in southern France and you're like on the border of Spain, you can roll your R. And if you're closer to like Germany, you can pronounce the R like how Germans pronounce it, which I'm not sure how to do that, but generally speaking, it's with a weird, like you're choking sort of sound. But in context, when you're speaking, it makes a very beautiful sound. Yeah. Anybody want to try to say these words? Anybody else? Or make the R
I think
sound?
Alexis or Alexa raised their hand a couple times. Alexa, if you wanted to, you could unmute right now if you wanted to try. Maybe not.
Do you want to try more?
Say it first?
Yeah, I can
Okay.
say it. Okay, so
I got it.
ready? What do you want? Do you want to do words or do you want to make the R sound?
I can do the R sound. What
Okay,
word?
it's
What's
er.
the
Eh, yeah, yeah, exactly. So when you're like a boulangerie, the bakery for bread, um, is has a lot of that R sound in it. Boulangerie.
Boulangerie.
Yeah, yeah, good. And then and there are a few letters that we left out in that word too. When you see how it's spelled versus how you just pronounced it, super wild, very interesting language, but it's fun to learn. Boulangerie. But yeah, good job.
Thank you.
Um, all right. I think we can go on to the next slide. Or yeah, okay. So study abroad. Last spring, I went on the Aix-en-Provence exchange program. So Aix-en-Provence is a smaller, well, it's not like super small, but it's not a big city. It's about 20 minutes from Marseille. So it's in that southern region of France, very close to the Mediterranean. Um, it's beautiful, highly recommend. This picture on the right is I took it from my apartment. So every morning I got to wake up to that beautiful view right there. It's, if you want to look up Aix-en-Provence, definitely go for it. The Cour Mirabeau is gorgeous. And then the university, of course, is really nice too. Yeah. I walk by that cathedral every morning on my way to class. And also every morning it woke me up with bells chiming at 7 a.m. and it was wonderful. Yeah, so in order to do this particular exchange program, it's one semester and you would be taking French language classes at the University of Aix-Marseille. Requirements, though, you do have to take through at least 202. It might be 201. And you have to be a junior in order to do this exchange program. But if you can do it, I highly recommend it. If you have any questions about how to do it, go for it. But yeah, and Morgan, of course, said that she would talk more about study abroad as well. If you wanted to hop in here.
Yeah, so can everyone hear me? It says my internet connection's a little poor.
Yeah, you're good.
Okay, awesome. So yeah, if you have any questions specifically about studying abroad in France or about this specific program, put them in the chat right now. Even if you have general study abroad questions, feel free to type them in the chat. I'm just going to talk for a couple minutes about how to study abroad at Stetson and what your options are. And besides that, after that, we'll start the Kahoot, so we can have the opportunity for everyone to win a prize, which I know everyone's excited about. So there are 3 different ways that you can study abroad at Stetson University. So you can do an exchange program like this one that is on the screen. You can do a faculty-led program, or you can do an affiliate program. And so an exchange program is going to be a semester or a year that you go to a different country and you go to their university. So you would still get Stetson credits at that university. Basically, you sign an agreement that says these are the classes that you're going to be taking at that university, and you come back and they are completely Stetson credits. Yeah, they don't even they're not transfer credits, they are Stetson credits through exchange programs, which are really awesome. So you can go over there and take a class, like for example, you'll be taking French language classes and you can come back with the credits for, say, French 301 or French 202 or something like that, which is a really awesome opportunity. Also, your scholarships to Stetson do carry over because you'll still be paying Stetson tuition on this exchange program. So if you have scholarships, that's a really great opportunity. Myself, I went to Ewha Women's University in South Korea, and so I used my scholarship that I'm very lucky to have to be able to do that, which was amazing. So that's a really cool opportunity through an exchange program to really immerse yourself in a country for 4 to 6 months and even a year sometimes. And yeah, like Wendy just said, Chloe, so you most programs are taught in English, but there are some that are distinct language exchanges, so you can get either one that you're looking for. And then we have faculty-led programs. Now, faculty-led programs are when a Stetson professor thinks that they have a class they'd like to teach that would be enhanced by the culture, the history, the architecture, the museums, just anything about that country, the culture, or just any resources that that country has to offer. And so they take a class of Stetson students with a Stetson professor over to that country. And sometimes they're a week long. They can be up to, I think we have a program that's almost 2 months, like 4 to 6 weeks long. So usually they're around a month or a little bit under a month long for faculty-led programs. A lot of them are a week or two. And you would be getting Stetson credit because you'd be taking a Stetson class with other Stetson students and a Stetson professor. So that's the differentiating it between the exchange programs and the faculty programs. You can send your 800 numbers in the chat now, yeah. And so I'll be finished up in just a couple minutes, and then we'll start the Kahoot. But so the differences between the faculty-led and the exchange, once again, it's a semester or a year for the exchange programs, and then the faculty-led are a week to a little over a month long. And then you have affiliate programs. Now, affiliate programs are not through the university. Those are through other companies, but you still have to get them approved by Stetson to be able to take them. We just want to make sure you're not getting scammed, that you're paying for what you think you're paying for, but those would come to the university as transfer credits. So those programs, there's thousands of them out there. There's some that are only a few days long. There's some that are a whole year. So if we don't have a program here at the university that you would like to go on, or if you find a very specific program outside through an affiliate program, you just have to fill out a form and talk with the World Office and get that approved. Some companies that we commonly do affiliate programs with are CIEE, IES Abroad, and Teen Abroad. So that's definitely some really cool options. And for how many credits do you need to take abroad? It depends, because credits themselves are different based on how schools work. For example, I was over in Korea, and so their classes are 3 credits each instead of 4 credits. So I was able to take 5 classes and still be a full-time student, but be under the 18, there's like a 19 max right now for Stetson, unless you're taking an overload. But yeah, so you take a minimum, which is 12. Thank you, Wendy, for that. So those are the different options for studying abroad. I appreciate all of your questions you sent in here. Studying abroad with an ROTC program, you just have to have some distinct discussions. If you have any specific program that you're in that has a large time commitment, or that has some requirements and restrictions on it, you just kind of have to have a conversation with your professor or head of that program, and with World, and just try to see where you could figure that out. Often, so exchange programs are going to be during the school year, usually, and then faculty-led programs are usually spring break, winter break, or during the summer. So times when we are not regularly in Stetson school, and then you'd be able to take that time away to go take those courses. So those are there. And yes, definitely there's something for everybody out there. Don't feel like, oh, I have all these things going on, there's no way I could study abroad. If you want to study abroad, reach out to the World Office. We will do everything in our power to make it happen, because studying abroad is one of, in my opinion, one of the most amazing things you can do while you're in college. And it's a really, really cool experience. So awesome. Does anyone have any remaining questions? If you do, feel free to put them in the chat. I'm just going to get the Kahoot up and running, and so we can all have a chance to win that prize, except for Sydney and I, because we know what is in the Kahoot. All right.
Traffic. I want that prize.
All right, so I'm about to share my screen for the Kahoot, and just so you guys know, please put your real name into the Kahoot. Your first and last name would be preferred, because if you win it and you have a nickname in there like Squirrel or something, I won't be able to figure out who it is, and anyone can claim that. So please put your real first and last name, and I'm going to share that with you guys now. Hopefully we don't have any technical difficulties with this, but if we do, just bear with us. All right, you guys can see the game pin in there now. So if you've never done a Kahoot before on your laptop or on your phone, you can go to www.kahoot.it, or you can download the Kahoot app. You're going to type in this game pin. It's going to ask you for a nickname, and you're going to put your first and last name in it. Thank you so much. Awesome. So some of the questions are a little silly. Some of the questions are stuff that we have talked about today. So if you have a good memory, you'll find that out. But yeah, so let's see. Okay, cool. If you're watching it on your phone, if you have a laptop near you, you can open it up on the laptop. But if you just have your phone with you, you can try to do like a split screen thing, but it'll just be a little bit harder. And so just so you know, for Kahoots, the timing is important, so how fast you're going to be with selecting the answers and getting the questions right. Those are the two things. Also, another thing, so that people who've played Kahoot before don't have too much of an advantage, the questions and the answers are going to be shown on the screen that you're watching right now, and on your device or in your tab, it'll just have you choose like a color usually. So you'll see the question and the answers on this screen, and then your screen will just have the different colors to select the answer. So I'm just going to wait 1 or 2 more minutes. If you are having severe technical difficulties and would like me to wait for you, please put it in the chat. Okay, I'll wait for you, Chloe, don't worry. That's okay if you couldn't put your whole last name. I'll be pretty much most of the way there. If there's like 2 Ryan B's or something, I'll email both and hopefully someone's honest. Okay, Ryan B didn't want that to be taken from him, so he changed his name, I think. Oh no. Well, make sure, I hope your computer doesn't die. I hope we can get through this before your computer dies. Just watching is fine too. Yeah, it's a really nice gift basket, like Wendy said. We picked out some really cool stuff. So, awesome. Well, type in the chat if, Chloe, if you're still trying. We'll have to get going in a minute or so. Okay. I'll give you like 1 more minute to try and get in here. Okay, as long as you're sure. So everyone else good? We can start now? Great, awesome. No one spoke, so that works. All right, get ready. All right, so France. You pronounce every letter in French, true or false? That's correct. False is correct. You do not pronounce every single letter. If you were listening to Sydney earlier, usually you leave off that last consonant, and there's quite a few other parts of French words that you don't pronounce. Alrighty, next question. Which of these is the French flag? Just a hint, if you pick Puerto Rico's flag, I will be saddened greatly. Puerto Rico's flag is in here, the Netherlands, France, and oh, what is the other flag I put in here? I forgot I made this flag. Someone accidentally picked Puerto Rico. A very likely story. All right, and I tricked some of you with the Netherlands there. That's fun. Yeah, the Netherlands is like the French flag, but turned 90 degrees. Is it cute? Is it Puerto Rico? Okay, next one. All right. Vienna's up at the top here. How many people live in France? It's just an estimation, it's not exact, but the answers are far enough away from each other that the right answer is there. If you pick 4, I'll be really happy. It'll be funny. Someone picked 4, 2 of you. Good, you made me happy. So yeah, about 67 million people right now live in France. Awesome. Wow, Vienna's just up there. Someone's got to knock them out. Their place. Which one of these is France? You're going to see some outlines of some places. I know they're a little bit hard to see, but which one of these is actually France? It's definitely the red one. The red one, actually, this was wrong. It was the red one. Florida, yeah, no. Okay, good job, guys. I tricked some of you with Germany. Some of you picked Australia, just so you know. That blue one was Australia. Alrighty. And what is a common type of coffee in France? Don't get tricked on this one, guys. Careful. If you chose espresso, you're incorrect. And if you say espresso, please don't. It's actually an S after the E. If you didn't know that, that's totally okay. We're all about sharing correct knowledge here, but it's espresso. We thought that would be a funny trick in there. Wow. Still, the leaderboard is changing up. Vienna is up there. Alrighty, what's a common breakfast in France? Which one of these is a common breakfast? And to be honest, for the photo for this one, I did just Google French meal. But yeah, bread with jam and coffee. That is a common French breakfast. Alrighty. Oh, look at that. Alex, up at the top there. How long has the Tour de France run for? All right, so that is definitely over 100 years that has been doing the Tour de France. Awesome, good job, guys. Some people picked 54 because it was such a specific number. Vienna made their way back up. Wow, good job. Which of these is French? So the French language, which one of these options is the French language? I'll give you a hint. It says, I want bread, or I want a baguette. Awesome, good job. Some of you picked Spanish, some of you picked Italian. Nobody picked Scottish Gaelic, which I'm proud of. I had no way to check if the Scottish Gaelic on Google Translate was correct or not, though, so if you speak Gaelic and that's wrong, I'm really sorry. But it should say, I want bread. Alrighty, next one. Paris is the largest city in France. True or false? All right, it's true. Paris is the largest city in France. If any of you have to leave early, thanks for being with us. I really appreciate it. We're going to try to keep going so we don't end later than 2. France has won the most Nobel Prizes for literature. True or false? It is true. Yeah, sometimes Kahoot does lag. Sorry about that, guys. I've noticed that too. I was in one time. That was like an online one, and it was lagging a bit. All right, next. Paris is the largest city in Europe. True or false? It is false. Paris is not the largest city in Europe. Thank you so much, everyone that has to leave right now. Thanks for coming. I really appreciate it. What is the average work week in France? Or how long is the average work week in France? Is it 20 hours, 60 hours, 40 hours, or 35 hours? Do you remember? Were you paying attention? If you came in late and missed it, I'm sorry. It's 35 hours. So, only like 4 questions left. The Louvre is the most visited art museum in the world. True or false? It's true. Alex is up there. Got a lead of about 1,000 points there. How long is spent on lunch in France? 30 minutes, an hour, 2 hours, or 4 hours? Two hours. Good job, guys. You're listening pretty well. Alrighty. Last 2 questions. Which of these is in the Louvre in Paris? The Statue of David, a woolly mammoth, Amelia Earhart's plane, or the Mona Lisa? Okay, good job. You got the Mona I like the two people that picked woolly mammoth for fun. Or maybe not for fun. Last question. French fries originated in France. True or false? I'm glad this one was one of the faster answered questions. False. French fries are not from France. They're from America. They're a misnomer. All right, let's see. Crystal, good job, good job. Danielle, good job. And our winner, who gets our French basket, is Alex. Okay, so Alex, if you could just privately message me or email me. Actually, if you could just email me, my email is right here. And we will order that for you. And if you could just email me with your address. If you live at Stetson, just send me your unit number. But if not, send me your address, and we will be able to send that to you. Thanks so much, everybody, for coming. We will have another virtual culture hour in 2 weeks, and hopefully it'll be on Morocco. So I hope to see you all there. And thank you so much for coming. I really appreciate it. And did just on time. I'm glad everyone had fun. Make sure to send in your 800 numbers either by email or in the chat to me so we make sure you get cultural credit. Awesome. Thanks so much. Bye, Kayla. If you have any questions, you can still ask them. Casey, did you need to say something? Did you press the wrong button? I'm going to stop sharing. Alrighty. Awesome. Didn't have any
Good job,
questions?
ladies.
Thank you. Thanks, Sydney, for doing
Yeah.
such an awesome job.
Yes, Stephanie, we will be hosting the recording session on the World YouTube page.
There will be a link in the Instagram bio for the World YouTube page. So if you just are looking for it, I'll add it right now so that we can find it. Yeah, no problem. Anyone that has any last questions, once again, feel free to put them in the chat or turn your microphone on. We'll be here until everyone, or most people that are still here with us, head out. So yeah. Yeah, no problem. Have a good rest of your day, everybody. Stay safe. Stay in school. Treat yourself well. Take like a bubble bath or something. I don't know.
Ooh, bubble bath sounds nice.
Right? So I've added a link now. The link in bio on our Instagram. All right, for the remaining like 5 people that are with us / probably not with us, are we good? Are we done?
Yes, we are.
Seems like it.
Awesome. Have a good rest of your day, everybody.
Bye.